2 in class today. So the faster you do this, the better, it'll be a reward, okay? All right, so first let's talk about context, okay? And I will say from grading DBQs, I usually can tell in the first paragraph if the student's going to pass the AP exam or not. Based off of last year, it was just a DBQ, okay? Context, thesis, all in the same paragraph, okay? If people, you have to be coached to, know how to get the rubric. You can be a good writer, but not pass AP exam because you aren't following the rubric, okay? And so you can tell in that first paragraph, okay, this person's probably going to earn a good bit of points. And then the people who, don't have that stuff, you're like, poor things, they haven't been coached, okay? So there's that. And at my old school, I had 200 AP US history students, and at least 30 of them failed general world history, okay? And my principal said, I don't care, we get points for participation in AP, so teach it like a general class. Those are people you're going up against, so that's good, right? Because it's a standardized test. It makes you look good, okay? So just remember that. It's not about perfection. It's about how you are compared to others, okay? So there's that. So let's go over context, okay? What the heck? Okay, but remember, I even talk pre-context. I think that's the easiest place. But if you forget about pre-context, like you struggle with that, then focus on post-context, okay? So here's a little real-world thing, okay? But just note first, we're doing stuff today, so you might want to open a Google Doc, and then at the end of class, that's where you'll put your Google Doc, okay? And we're doing lots of little activities today, okay? No content. So go ahead, open up a Google Doc, and just, call it LEQ 3 Prep, okay? Here we go. First thing with context. I swear, I haven't changed this. So, but just remember too, these are the things that your rubric will cover, and I encourage you to look at your rubric tomorrow while you're doing it. Context is a point, thesis is a point, using 3 pieces of relevant evidence, just identifying, okay? So if you told me cotton diplomacy, something about, we'll say this, the Emancipation Proclamation was a reason for a victory in the Union, but you didn't tell me about it, what it defined. If you just identify Emancipation Proclamation and 2 other things, that's a point. If you actually define it and use it to support your argument, that is another point. So you see, there's that. Your historical thinking skill, College Board calls it historical reasoning skill. That's your causation, your continuity change over time comparison, your unicorn, which is really hard to get. And then here's where I'm very particular, okay? Decent grammar, perfectly fine, okay? I will say, I will start counting off if you do not capitalize things. We're talking, you did not capitalize a single thing. Oh, that will be points off. If you forget one thing to capitalize, no. If you forget 5 things to capitalize, no, it's okay. There's some people who's United States or Lincoln never capitalize. Okay, I want to make sure you know that that person's a proper noun or whatever. Okay, topic sentences. We'll do a activity with topic sentences to make sure you know. If it's that organization and topic sentence, and I circled it on your rubric, that means you really need to pay attention to that. Okay. An organization, remember I told you, have at least 2 main paragraphs. If you have one main paragraph, it's just one, and it's really big, that's going to be points off because you need to have at least 2 talking points or buckets. Okay, so here's the context. We're talking pre-context, okay? You've been living, or I've been living in a cave for 5 years, okay? Stumbled out, November 2020. Okay? And I have a lot of questions. Think about it. What would you say to get me up to speed? It's been 5 years. Okay, so that's November 2015. Okay? I've been living in this cave. I stumble out, and you are the first person that I see, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Okay? And in case you need a little refresher, I just spent like 1 minute. Something is up with this. Maybe it's my battery. But here's a couple of pictures to refresh your memory. Oh, there you go. In case you don't know what's happening in 2020. Okay? So my question is, what the heck is going on? Okay? I basically just Googled 2020 crazy. This is, I went through and copy and pasted pictures. Okay? So I want you, first thing, is I want you to take a couple of minutes and just type up, answer the prompt. What the heck is going on? Okay? And remember, if it's like, you can't just focus on one thing because then you're not catching me up to speed. You know what I'm saying? Focus on a couple of things to catch me up to speed. What the heck is going on? I've been in a cave for 5 years, and this is what I see. I was intrigued. I did not realize this was a thing. Did y'all see this? That's a graduation where the people are FaceTiming and it's an iPad. So they walked across the stage. let's see what you can do in like 1 more minute. All right. Okay, so I can tell from Go Guardian, you're doing a pretty good job. You're not just telling me about, COVID. You're not just telling me about Donald Trump. Some of y'all are including Black Lives Matter. You're giving me a full story. Okay, so that's really good. One thing I want to point out, some of y'all might have gotten some points off with your pre-context last time because maybe you just focus on one thing. If it's like a broad prompt, set the stage like you did here. Okay? Some of y'all, it was about the Civil War, your prompt was. And some of y'all took it back to Jamestown, 1619, with the first slaves, okay? That's fine as long as you bring it up to the 1850s. Okay? So remember, if it's a broad prompt, tell me multiple aspects of what would lead to it. Okay? Now, some prompts might be more specific. Okay? So what if, I ask a certain question, okay? Like, why are people wearing masks? Okay? Would I then have to maybe, in your pre-context, whatever, okay, might not have to mention, Trump's impeachment or Black Lives Matter, because it's specifically asking about the masks, okay? Google Meets have been around, so I changed it to Zoom. But what if someone asks, what's Zoom? Then you're focusing on like just maybe a little bit of COVID and talking about schools and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then like, who is our president? Then that's more of that political aspect. Okay. So again, it all depends on how specific the prompt is, how, if it's very vague of a prompt, that means give me lots of parts of it. But if it's very specific, it needs to be relevant. Okay? So if for Zoom, that question about Zoom, and you don't mention anything about schools being closed, okay, you probably get some points off if that was a prompt. Okay? So again, it depends on the question. All right, so now we're doing thesis. Okay? Here is something from, I think, like 2016, the AP exam, LEQ. Evaluate the extent. Remember, whenever you see extent, it means how much. If you see the word extent, give me an adverb. Okay, now I want to do, I don't know, last year, AP Euro, I'm learning to, not let it bother me. But, it is evident that. The extent of, I'm learning to embrace it. But I do not like it. I'd rather, instead of you saying, whatever the extent of, just get rid of that part and then just go and throw in an adverb. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. But I understand. I'm not going to punish y'all. So, and I think some of y'all do a better job with it. Some of y'all, it's like, this is really awkward kind of thing. So just note, sometimes you're like, oh, if you don't like that, we didn't like make a comment about it or mark through it. That means it sounds okay. But some people, if I circle, it means like it was choppy. Okay. I'd rather you just say like, the Civil War fostered great change. Instead of like the extent of you get what I'm saying? Okay. Just throw an adverb. Okay. And focus on the U.S. economy from 1861 to 1900. Okay. So take 3 minutes on your little Google Doc. Okay. And remember, it's just, you just open up Google Doc. Okay. Make sure you understand the prompt and then take 2 minutes, create a word bank. Don't use your notes. Okay. Create a word bank. Okay. That would be, this would provide evidence relevant to this prompt. I don't want to get y'all. Oh, not for a second. 2 minutes. Bless you. Okay, so now you're not going to write a thesis and all that. I went ahead, there's the 4 thesis examples, and we're just going to go over which ones earned the point, which one did not earn the point, according to the College Board, okay? So first one, the Civil War fostered great economic change in the fact that the Southern labor force was forever changed with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, but it fostered less economic change due to the North and South's role in the economy staying the same. Did that earn the point? It did earn the point. Okay? So, first of all, it answered the extent. Great change. Okay? It also went a step further and talked about how where there's less change. Okay? It also, what are the buckets? The talking points. What are the buckets?
Ratification.
Yeah, so something about like 30th Amendment led to like the labor force being changed. That's an economic thing. Okay? And then the other paragraph would be about like the change, continuity, like about the role of the economy staying the same. Does that make sense? Now this one, like I said, I did not write this. This is a student, and the College Board said they earned the credit. Now, to be honest, I don't know what they're talking about here, the last sentence. But it's still a talking point, and it answers all parts of the prompt. Okay? That means I need to read more, like maybe like paragraphs here to focus on that. Maybe if they said like such as, like, you know how they did like a such as here? Maybe if they did such as here to be stronger, but still earn the point. Got it? Now, after the war, much damage was done to the South, including their major cities and plantations. Their economy struggled greatly during and in the years after the war. No? Okay. Why? Because it is no, but why?
Change.
Yeah, it's focused. Yeah, I need change, and that's why I love like you use the wording. Don't restate the prompt, but like that is good. Like I don't see anything about change and extent of change. This is more like here's what happened, but you didn't tell me things that changed. And if not, you could use words like shifted, transition. You can use synonyms, but I don't see a change there. So they didn't really answer the prompt.
That also, at least about the South, I don't think it included really.
Yeah.
The question of like U.S. economy.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really address things. Now, if it said there wasn't much change in the North, there's only change in the South, okay, we're getting there, but it did not. Okay? The Civil War totally flipped the U.S. economy upside down from 1861 to 1900. At the end of wartime, the U.S. has some strengths and weaknesses that it had to address. The economy was rejuvenated and new, while also being archaic and unable to keep up with current laws.
Yes. Yes.
No. And now, this is the idea of quality over quantity, right? It looks good, okay? First, I mean, I'm not going to count off, but that is a little casual, like flipped upside down. Just changed, okay? Okay, it had some strengths and weaknesses. Okay, but is that a change? No, okay? The economy was rejuvenated and new. Okay, maybe that's getting there, but that could be causation. Do you get what I'm saying? The problem is that while it is getting there, I think the graders needed some such as to prove more of that change instead of just like successes. You could be like such as a new railroad system. New means change. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is not earn the point. Due to the Civil War from 1861, America's economy massively changed due to the industrialization, the creation of railroads, and the stopping of slavery in its entirety. The most change occurred in the transformation of the New South. I think of all those, that's my favorite. Short, sweet, straight to the point. And the reason why it like ranks first place out of the 4 in my book is because they made, this is like your, like if you want to earn a 5 on the AP exam, okay? This sentence right here. They didn't just tell me change. They took it a step further. Most change. That could be like that 5 on the AP exam. Okay? Yes?
Can you get the thesis at the end, like an end?
You can. And I know some people, if you look on your rubric, I'll put like, you got the thesis, but it was at the end, meaning whatever you put in the beginning did not earn the stuff.
So like that third one, to get it at the end if they said such as, if they went in there like conclusion.
like if they put this at the end and like rephrased it some, and then because at the end they've already talked about it. Yes, then they would have gotten it because it would have talked about the change then. Yep. Okay. So don't worry about that. We talked about, we're good. Okay. What I would suggest is I would do a change. I mean, I really like this one where it's like creation of railroads, stopping that labor force. Okay. And honestly, this is not about this perfect essay. This is about getting the most points. For me, I would maybe just get rid of that and focus on those two. Okay, so then I know I have 2 paragraphs. I only have to use 3 pieces of information. Okay, so I'd probably do a bucket on railroads, and then like maybe focusing on the South, where we talk about like the New South, stopping slavery. Does that make sense? And then I would use something very similar to that. Got it? Okay. I swear, it's working. That is weird. Okay. So don't worry about that. Okay. So don't worry about that. Okay. Color coding. Here's a document. I'm going to post it really quick. And this is going to be individual. Okay. All I want you to do, I'm going to post it in the streaming thing. Just make it easy. You open it, copy and paste it into your document. Okay, and I want you to color code it. Okay, there's like a key of like what colors. So the LEQ has already been written. I want you to highlight it in the appropriate colors. So copy and paste it into your little individual document. Okay, for time's sake, let's go over just a little bit of this, okay? That first paragraph, okay? The opening part is your pre-context, okay? In the same paragraph will be your thesis, which is like the last part of that paragraph. You see it's in the same paragraph, okay? And you see it has some such as. It talks about that change in the those principles, okay? Next, you have the topic sentence in the first embodied paragraph. That is a good main topic sentence. Then you have the evidence. The evidence is Louisiana Purchase. Explaining the evidence also earns the point. Like they supported the evidence, which would be next. Okay. Any questions there? And then the second one is a very similar format. Okay. So I want you to make sure you understand if you just identify the evidence. One example would be Louisiana Purchase. Okay. Then you actually define it and explain how it supports the thesis, how it shows change in the Democratic Republican principles. Then you're getting support credit. Okay. Like I said, I want to make sure I'll have time to work on some LEQ stuff. Okay, don't worry about that. Just remember when you write a main body paragraph, you should have your first sentence to be a topic sentence. Then you need to identify it. So one example would be the Louisiana Purchase. Then you tell me about the Louisiana Purchase and like how we got it and what it was and all that. Then you explain how this goes against Jefferson's former principles of having a strict construction or interpretation of the Constitution. Just like an SAT, you identify it, you define it, you explain it. You repeat steps 2 through 4 as needed in that paragraph. If you have time, in the paragraph with basically rephrasing your topic sentence. Okay, don't worry about that. Here we go, topic sentences. Okay, we have to talk about the progressive era. I think for y'all to understand topic sentences the best, we're just focusing on the prompt that you probably don't know about the stuff about. Okay, so I'm going to post this into the stream tab, and you're going to copy and paste it. Okay, and there are some examples of students who wrote topic sentences. Like I just took their first sentence in the paragraph, so that should be your topic sentence. And you're going to tell me what is the topic and does it earn the credit. Okay, so I'm doing a class comment. I just posted a class comment. That is the new thing. I'll show you what it looks like. Just copy and paste. Okay, and again, the prompt says evaluate the effectiveness of the progressive era in terms of like the federal government, bringing about reform at the national level. Okay, and you also have to address some aspect of where it was not as successful. So you're basically telling me about successes and addressing a little of the limitation of the progressive era. Again, I don't expect you guys to about the progressive era. But what you can do is look at the first sentence in each of these paragraphs, okay? And tell me, did they answer the prompt? Okay? So copy and paste that into your document. over this, okay? 'Cause like I said, a lot of y'all, I mean, I had someone showed me their rubric yesterday. They got 15 points off. If you earn a 0.5 on that topic census thing, that means you got 15 points off on the LEQ, okay? So, the progressive president incited much reform, particularly focusing on protecting individual rights and banishing corruption, okay? That is a good topic sentence because it says incited much reform, so that means like change, and then talked about the 2 talking points in that paragraph. So that was good. Okay, number 2. Also during this time, food production companies were also out of control and needed rules and regulations. That might be a good second sentence, but it's not a good topic sentence. A topic sentence needs to be talking about the change or the level of effectiveness or limitation that actually happened. Okay? Number 3, society went through major changes during this time period. Okay? It is a little vague, and I guess it depends on what the entire paragraph would be about. But if it was about, to make it better, it would need to have something where it would not earn the point. But all it would take to earn the point would be words like success or failures or like effectiveness limitations. Okay? Number 4, another aspect that underwent major change and it affects success was politics. Yes, they used the prompt of like effectiveness, okay, and then it's got politics. Number 5, the federal government addressed the ideas on the rights of the people effectively through the progressive era reforming. That does earn the point, but there's one word that makes it earn the point. What is it? Look at number 5. There's one word that makes that topic sentence good. Effectively. Exactly. Okay. Number 6, in terms of knocking down industry trusts and monopolies, the federal government was successful. That works. Number 7, thousands of Americans also sought social reform and equality in the progressive era. That does not earn it because, again, you're supposed to tell the prompt and thesis should be about was it effective or not. So if you said thousands of Americans were effective in whatever, it didn't really work. But number 7 does not work. 8, politics changes resulted in huge reform of the federal government. It's a little implied, so I probably would give credit for that. Because huge reform means like success, maybe. Number 9, many amendments were being pushed throughout the progressive era because many American citizens believed they had little say in the government, especially farmers and women. It's a little awkward, like a push throughout. Maybe it would work, but I think it's like if they said many amendments were established during the progressive era, that kind of implies that it was successful, so it's just kind of awkward. So maybe not number 9. Number 10, during Theodore Roosevelt's presidency, he was nicknamed the Trust Buster. Is that a good first sentence in your paragraph? No. I know you're going to talk about Teddy Roosevelt and he was a trust buster, but you need to tell me if he was successful or not, effective in regulating industry. Number 11, reform movements, their leaders, and the federal government all learned to help society as well. It's vague, but it does imply there's some success and effectiveness. It might work. 12, arguably, the most influential aspect of reform in the United States during the progressive era came from political and trust reform in the United States government. Yep. So I hope from looking at that, because I think it helped not knowing the content, just did they answer the prompt, with the topic sentence. Okay? Let's see. I just hope that you look at your LEQ reflection and like filled it out. I feel like the good examples. Okay. If you have questions, you can email me. The last thing, I'm not going to show you all this video. Just a couple of minutes. This is one of those things I made like when everything was shut down. It's over the uniform point. It's just a basic overview. If you make a 75, if you think you've made a 75 on your LEQ as you're writing it, go for the uniform point. Okay? If you're trying to get to a 70, which remember a 70 makes me happy, okay? Don't worry about the uniform point. Okay? So here is a video. I'm only going to show you a little bit of it, okay? But I'm going to share this with y'all later. So if you want to watch me go over specifics of different unicorn examples, you can watch it. But I'm not going to force you to watch it right now, okay? This last field video is
on the complexity of point, also known as extended analysis, but you know it as the unicorn. And I Googled a push and unicorn, and this is what I got. Henry Clay riding on a unicorn. So yeah, let's just embrace this and tackle this unicorn. Okay, so I just want to show you some data. This is my data from last year. Now, just want to point out, y'all know Tim from Austria. He took the AP exam for U.S. history at Newton High School. I don't know what he looks like. I don't even know what his last name is. I just know Tim from Austria. Okay, everyone else, okay, from last year's this. So just please look, look at that number. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is look at this number. Okay. This is part of my instructional planning report that I get about a week after I get the scores, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This breaks down. It's not, I wish it was a little more in depth, but hey, I'll take it. So what this is doing is that it says overall, my students, including Tim, earned this out of 7 points. And then thesis thinks 70%, contextualization, 70% got the point, okay? Evidence, that is your documents, okay? And outside evidence, okay? So it's your not HIP, it's your summary sentences, it's your supporting sentences, and then it's your outside evidence. And then this right here is your HIP and your complexity point, the unicorn point. I really wish they had broken these down so I could actually get a better picture. But do you see how 47% of students made a 5, okay? And look at that score right there. So just note, it is perfectly fine. You don't have to, go for this if you feel like you're not going to get it, okay? Again, analysis and reasoning, that's your 3 HIP sentences and then a unicorn, okay? And again, it's kind of hard to interpret for me, but that's significantly lower than the other ones, okay? But just know, it's perfectly fine. It's not the end of the world if you don't get to this. And again, here are some other AP US history teachers, and there was a teacher this week who asked about the complexity point, like the best way to teach it. And here's some things, like this teacher said, I tell my students not to worry about it. This person's saying you either get it or you don't. So I don't really teach it because you can't teach it. It's a unicorn. If you have time, do the opposite of the prompt, is what someone says. And then this guy who's really big in AP US history said, I don't teach it. A well-written essay gets it. No point in dwelling on it. Another person said that he graded almost 800 DBQs and awarded the unicorn point 20 times last year. Okay, I'm not trying to deter you from doing it. What I'm trying to do is to take away the unnecessary stress if you are stumped. Okay. So y'all know early on talking about this unicorn point, complexity point, that it's like a grand slam in baseball. So here's my lovely image I kind of edited, bootleg, that shows you the unicorn. So a well-written essay has a better chance of earning the unicorn point, okay? So that means, did you have a strong thesis and context? Strong evidence, meaning you're summarizing the documents, supporting the documents, and the 2 pieces of outside evidence. And then your HIPs, okay? Remember, you only have to have 2 HIPs this time, okay? If you have all that, And then the unicorn is just the icing on the cake, ready to bat and have, you know, this grand slam. Okay. So again, this is like the icing on the cake, but this is your money maker here. This is worth 1 point. Okay. So types of unicorns or ways to do complexity. And again, there's lots of different ways. Here's just some examples. Synthesis, which you know is you're comparing either a different time period to what the prompt's about, a different geographical area. So pretend that the DDQ, even though it probably will not be, about like New England colonies. You could do something about the southern colonies or the middle colonies. That's a different geographical area. Okay, you can also focus on a different theme, but that's, you know, why do that? Okay, cooperation. If I were you guys, I would embrace cooperation because it's probably the fastest way to enhance your essay. And the greater, if you're a great writer, they might already be impressed with you, and then cooperation is like the icing on the cake with not much effort. So please embrace cooperation. Counter argument, you do like a paragraph talking about something that goes against it. Okay, I call number 4 the other historical reasoning skill. That's where if it asks for causes, give me a thing about effects or vice versa. And then if you have a great pre-context and a great post-context, that also might help you. Okay, remember the context has to be immediately, like directly relevant to the prompt.
So I will post this in just a little bit. If you want to, I edited it, like cooperation is just for DBQ. So like I edited this video where like cooperation, where I go into detail, I cut the cooperation part out since it's just for the LEQ. But I'll post it if you want to watch it on your own time. But there's that. Okay, do y'all have any questions? Kind of thing. LEQ could be anything from 15 to 18 tomorrow. Okay, 15 to 18 if you are here. Okay, you have at least 10 minutes until the announcements, and then what time does the bell ring? 58? I'm making it up. Something. I don't know. 10:01. I don't know. But if you want to work on updating your LEQ number 2, whatever you want to get done, you can actually update it right now. So in 10 minutes, you can probably earn 20 more points if you want to. Okay? But you need to send me. I will post an attachment where you will send the updated thing. Okay?
What's the time that we'll go?
Yes, I will create that assignment too. So I'm first doing Wednesday work. Okay, and then I'm going to do LEQ revision. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. I put LEQ revisions due by 10 a.m. So again, this could be 10 points more. It's a quiz grade, 15 points more. Okay, whatever you do, just do it like in blue and then add it there. That's to reward those who have been paying attention. Molly, right now it's just, I want to see what you've done in like the next 10 minutes. Just, reward those who've been paying attention and not just checked out. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so the subject. So what that means is you claim the opportunity for in Congress as this is so now I know now we're at. Instead of the foundation, but the really set the foundation, that's really well give you proof. I know you want to take just like my essay. But I feel like that would have been a phone call, so maybe I'm giving you. Okay, here's another one. Maybe like Kansas or like California. Does that make sense? But like, the stuff you have is good. I just need more. It's not like what you did is wrong. Does that make sense? All right. What? I do that. But when I write good or just check my good, it's really good. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So let's see first. Okay, so one thing was wrong. Oh, okay. As a politician, you're not going to just do slavery. You're going to spread of slavery. So that's like about one point. Okay. It looks like in your thesis, you mentioned the reasons for victory, which is good. But I did not see the second part of the prompt, which is that part. Does that make sense? If you add one more sentence there, that's 2 more points. Okay? And here's the thing. It kind of trickles down. If you don't address the goals here, you can't get full credit here. So this is all related. Got it? So I think it sounds like you might have one more paragraph about like, the verbs you use and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So highlight what we did.
Mm-hmm. Not like why did you write this, but why? Yeah. So you said this would be very effective because students okay. I'm just going to do that. So yeah, why? You said maybe that's happening because the average American, they're saying mental health message is what. But you know, so like someone be like, but see, you got to explain why because it made the war now about ending slavery. That. Yeah. Preserving the Union and yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Union High. It's time for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.